What is going on, America? Welcome back to the Sabbath Patriots. Glad you guys are joining us. We're starting a little later today, about 30 minutes, because there was some time and some information, problems with information. But we're here. As you can see, Marlon's still out. He popped in backstage for a little while to give us a little pep talk. But he is watching the backstage, so everyone say hello to Marlon, and he should be back next week. But what we're going to tackle today is we're going to tackle the Candace Owens issue, her getting fired from the Daily Wire, and we're going to break it down. We're going to give you our opinion, and we're going to break down some videos. I'll let this show you guys what we think, and we will see you guys on the other side. And welcome back to the future, America. It's a crazy world, man, that we're living in right now. You're seeing all these major media, influencers, creators, whatever you want to call them. They're all just kind of fizzling away and going away. And Candace Owens is a big one. Everybody knows that Candace Owens is very controversial in her beliefs and what she says and her stance on certain topics. Some people like her. Some people don't. Pick your poison. But what do you guys think?
It's one of those things of it's been a long time coming. I think anybody would have told you this was bound to happen. Like you said, we don't know if it was due to contractual obligations ending or was she outright fired. That's going to be the biggest question is, was she fired?
Agreed.
And what caused her to get fired?
Agreed.
Yeah, that's kind of like, I think that's the point of contention is, was she fired or did she leave on her own volition? Or was it a firestorm of conglomeration of the two?
Yeah, so what we're going to do, we're going to break down some videos, and then we're going to let you guys kind of decide that's in the audience. Just, write in the comment section what you think or, how you feel that she got released, fired, quit, whatever you want to call it. We're going to break it down. So the first one we're going to show you a video of an interview she had with a Jewish person, and tell us what you think.
Selling butt plugs with your daughter. I don't know. Okay, maybe you're right. I think it's gross. Right, I think it's disgusting. And I do not, it's not the definition of holy in the Christian faith is what I would say. It's weird to me. Well, okay. It's very weird. And this could be a difference in our religions. But by the way, your religion does not trump my religion. So I think that you should respect the fact when I say something is unholy, I am referring to my religion. His relationship between him and his daughter is very creepy to me. The sex podcast is very creepy to me. The idea of sitting down and talking to your father about, topics of sex in any regard is creepy to me. Him promoting butt plugs that are sold by his daughter is creepy to me. I have a right to say that I find this to be utterly unholy and that any faith leader, at least in the Christian community, would agree that all of this is giving us very weird vibes between the father and daughter relationship. I can say that all I want. And I do think that part of it, and this is where we get to the topic of where people perceive this and they say, is this a form of Jew supremacy? To say, suspend your Christianity because my Judaism matters more is the feeling that I get when you say, you don't get to say it's an unholy rabbi. Pornography, pornography is unholy in my view. You might disagree with that. It is unholy to Christians. The topic of pornography, peddling pornography, selling butt plugs, the commercialization of pornography is unholy. And I'm going to continue to call him unholy because that is what I deem him to be. And I say that as a Christian.
What rabbi was she alluding to?
Yeah.
I personally would like to have heard what he was going to retort because, she never gave him a shot on responding.
Yeah.
So I'd like to get more context. But if you're a holy man selling butt plugs for your daughter, I mean, come on, that's like a vegan justifying steak. Eating steak.
They are kosher butt plugs. What can I say?
Yeah, and one thing that it could that kind of put the nail in the coffin is that well, it started with Ben Shapiro and their belief on this Israel-Hamas conflict, and her going at Ben Shapiro, then her going after this guy. You know, a lot of people in the background are looking like, is she anti-Semitic? And she is getting those comments because she's not towing the line that the mainstream is putting out about the Jewish faith. And I don't think she's really attacking the faith. I think she just sees things that she doesn't agree with. She voices her opinion about it, and they take it as an attack.
I mean, we could always say, I mean, granted, sure, but that's how any sort of topic that gets sensitive, that infringes upon the sensitivities of others. Approaches it.
I've got something fun for you. So since she got fired, the said rabbi has made a response video,
of course,
to her getting fired and things like that.
Is it that bad?
Is it that bad?
It's bad. It's bad.
Like scathing, or is it like his response is just pathetic?
I will let you decide if you think it's bad or not.
Okay.
Because yeah, I'll read the tweet as soon as you bring it up.
Okay.
Anyway. So he dressed himself in the Candace Owens Jew. That's what he has wrote on his shirt. And for Purim, I'm dressed up as Candace Owens Jew, or it is just a dress up, or are we Jews deep down always like this filthy money, drunk on Christian blood and the dual loyalties for Israel? I felt that since Candace Owens got fired on Friday, I might as well try and bring her some Purim to cheer up by validating all her views about Jews. That was the tweet, and here's the video of that. No. There we go.
Hi, everybody. Purim is a day of celebration. We feel bad for Candace Owens that she lost her job. So I figure, with her image of what Jews are supposed to look like, why not at least validate her? I am dressed up as a Candace Owens Jew. Now, this is not a Christian child, this is a Jewish child. But if it would be, I got my Christian blood. Spicy, delicious. I got my Jewish nose. I have filth, because Jews are all filth. And more than anything else, what does 80 have? Money! Yeah, we Jews are all about money!
All about the Benjamins.
Wait, all about the Benjamins. Wait, I'm getting a little bit thirsty. Where's the matzah? I don't want to finish the whole thing enough.
So I think you get the gist of it.
Yeah.
I think you get the...
Hey, I get it. He's trying to defend himself against what he thought was an attack. It was mainly an opinion, and this is just kind of in poor taste. I mean, yeah, you want to get up there and you want to prove your point that you're not what she says you are, but to get up there and do it in that fashion, it's in poor taste, in my opinion.
It's not just in poor taste. I mean, this is all based off the fact that they think Candace Owens is an anti-Semite, and the whole thing led up to this was because Nick Fuentes agreed with something Candace Owens says, right? Who the ADL has something out for Nick Fuentes, rightly so, because he is an anti-Semite. I'm not going to defend Nick Fuentes.
Oh yeah.
But the point is that they did guilt by association, and because her stance of being anti-Israel and calling out rightly so that the Israel campaign has been in massive overreach in response. Massive overreach. And they're doing much more than what I think the U.S. was comfortable with to begin with. And most people are comfortable with, by the way. Right? Because could you imagine if we did what Israel was doing to Afghanistan right now? Like just wiping out swaths of neighborhoods, like carpet bombing neighborhoods, right? I mean, like I know we did some things in Iraq and Afghanistan, but we at least tried to not look like the bad guys. We at least tried not to look like the bad guys.
Yeah, we try, but I mean, you look at the whole waterboarding debacle.
Yeah.
And they made a big stink about how they were treating these prisoners of war. It was all over the news. They were calling it war crimes. And then they were calling us baby killers at some point, like they did, with the Vietnam vets. And the Vietnam vets were getting spit on, and they were called all these names. But, and I'm going to say this first. The Savage Patriots stand on where we stand when it comes to this conflict. Hands off. That's where at least that's where I stand. I can speak for myself. But if you look at what's going on over there, I get it. It's a response to an attack. But the amount of damage that you're doing, the collateral damage, I think is, like Coy said, it's a little over. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. I mean, like I said, it's. If it's not genocidal, I don't know what else word you would put it for if you're trying to remove an entire group of people from an area, right? That's ethnic cleansing. I can't say it any other way. Like, they would do the exact same thing to the Jews. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to be sympathetic towards them. I'm just saying, as factual matters, what they are doing is considered genocidal, or at least ethnic cleansing in the very least, right? But at the same time, people get a hard-on for doing it because it's Israel and Palestine. But there's tons of other places in the world that are doing the exact same thing. And the same thing, I have critique of the Muslim world. They get upset that Israel's doing this, but yet they give China a pass for literally locking up people in concentration camps and not defending the faith. So they want to do an intifada to the Jews, but they don't want to do it to the Chinese, even though they're the ones locking them up in prisons and castrating them.
Yeah.
So your morality is very worth nothing unless it's beneficial with a lot of these people. But these are the facts. This is the truth, that it is nobody's good. They're all bad, right? They're doing things for their own self-interest. It's the same thing. If Gaza was allowed to ethnically cleanse the Jews, they would be doing the exact same thing as Israel is doing. I have no doubt about it.
That is very
But the
true.
fact that they don't have the power to do so, and therefore Israel is doing that. So factually, yes, they are doing something bad, and we should call them out for that. And we shouldn't be funding it either.
I think that's the key. There is the fact that our tax dollars are going to fund this definitive genocide is what as Coy put it. But yeah, again, in that same light, Coy's absolutely right in my opinion. You can't be calling out Israel, but give China a hall pass, especially if you're a Muslim.
Right. Especially like Iran. Iran is deep in bed with China, but they won't call them out, even though they're locking up Muslims against religious beliefs. They were literally targeting them because of religious beliefs, but they want to target the United States and Israel for their own viewpoints, but not China. Not China. China's off limits, even though they're doing worse than what the U.S. or Israel is doing right now. Well,
which is why
maybe
honestly,
not Israel, but at least the U.S.
So, in my opinion, then it's more. I don't think Candace Owens is anti-Semitic. I think she's just more pro-America.
Yeah.
Like
I don't think she's anti-Semitic. No.
Like you can be in the sense of you can be like, I'm not anti-woman, I'm just pro-man, or I'm not hateful on vegans, I'm just pro-human, So that's how I'm looking at it.
It used to be kind of a humanist idea.
And the biggest problem in our society now is if you don't 100% stand for this or the other, you're against it. No, I'm not anti anything. I'm anti, P3DO. I'm anti against those people. I'm anti against sick people that do things to children. I'm against that. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle it's on, whether it's Israel, whether it's Palestine, whether it's America. I don't care. If you're attacking innocent people, I'm against you.
Yeah.
But in this conflict, for some reason, you have to pick a side. And if you don't pick the right side, you're against the other side. This is why I don't pick, because both sides are doing whatever they're doing to innocent people, and we're against that.
Yeah.
But, Candace Owens stands on what she stands on. She's never been pro-Hamas. She's never come out and said, I'm pro-Hamas or anything like that. She's anti against the killing of innocent people.
Yeah. like it's hard to take the moral high ground with the atrocities of October 7th were outrageous. What they did is absolutely disgusting and they needed to be punished. But now you're punishing the entire population of Gaza. Okay. At a certain point, you have to look at yourself and go, are we the baddies? Because you're acting like the baddies. That's exactly what you're doing. Like, I'm sorry. Like, there's like I'm not an apologist for Israel, and I'm not an apologist for Hamas or freaking Palestine either. They're both evil people, in my opinion, at this point. Because they're doing the exact same thing. But we shouldn't be paying for it with our tax dollars. We have tons of other things we need to be worried about right now, especially with the border, that we should be focusing on. But instead, we're focusing on Ukraine and Israel for no reason other than giving up treasure for nothing.
Yeah.
What are we getting in return for this?
Absolutely nothing. And we've always talked about everything as a rich man's trick. And if you look at this conflict, America is funding both sides. They may not be funding Hamas militarily, but they are funding the government by providing stuff for the people, which, you know, it's humanitarian. But you can't be funding one side militarily, and then when they destroy the other side, you run to the other side and fund them humanitarily. What are we doing here? You know, it's funny. They're playing both sides. Everything is a rich man's trick. This isn't something new to America. They will blow the crap out of you, and then on the same hand, the enemy that they're destroying, they're going to fund the people. Say, oops, yeah, we're funding them, but here's some food and here's some snacks. Hide down, hunker down while we do this. No, we can't do this. So, you know, what Candace Owens is saying is, I'm pro-American, man. Why are we doing this? Like Coy said, why are we funding these people? Why are we giving our tax-paying dollars to these foreign countries while they're killing each other? But we got our own people out here dying every day from hunger, starvation, homelessness, illnesses, and all this other stuff. And you're just constantly sending money to these countries that half the people in America, the majority of the American people, don't even know where they're at. If you gave them a map without the labeling, they couldn't even point to that country. But yet here we are.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. So yeah, I look at it like this. Like, think of a children's fight, right? There's 3 kids in the yard, and one hands a bat to the other one, and the one with the bat hits the other kid, and then he's, oh man, that sucks. I'm so sorry. Here's some Band-Aids, and then he gives them Band-Aids, the third party, to the other guy that got hit. It's like, but you gave him the bat. It's like, yeah, but I'm helping you. It's like, you know, so that's exactly what's happening.
That's a really good analogy.
It's like, I'm gonna give the one kid the bat so he can hit the other kid. Then I'll give that kid bandages at a price. You know?
I mean, yeah, that's a good analogy. That's funny. But look at the war on drugs, right? You remember that big, and I don't know if it's still going on, where they were handing out syringes, right, for safe drug use. But we're gonna arrest you if you get drugs. But when you get out, we're gonna hand you syringes so you can use drugs safely.
That happened like in the last 4 years.
Yeah, it makes no sense. And the American people don't see it. Like, they're playing us for fools. They're playing on our emotions with all of this.
Yeah.
And people just don't see it. They're picking sides. Don't pick sides. Pay attention to the people that are funding it. These people that are in these countries are victims to the funding of someone up top who is some secret person who is funding all this, while they trickle it down to each news organization left and right, so we can pick sides and cry about it, when at the end of the day, the people up top don't care about either side because they're getting paid regardless. Either or, they're getting paid. Whether it's with this side or this side, they're getting paid, and they just funnel that money and all this propaganda back down to these mainstream news organizations to pull on your heartstrings, to pick sides, to cause what? Division.
Yeah,
you have to keep that division, man.
Well, I'm okay with being divided from the left, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, ideology wise, yes, I'm okay with being division, because I'm not going to agree with a certain ideology at all. As a people, as a human, no, I personally don't agree with, human beings offing each other like this, man. It's bad juju. Yeah. We reap what we sow. You know what I mean? We reap what we sow. But, everyone has their beliefs. And I'm not, just because I don't agree doesn't mean I'm against you. I just, don't agree. That doesn't mean there's hate there. And that's what people have to understand. We can agree to disagree. Doesn't mean we have to hate each other and bomb each other and kill each other. I mean,
I had this idea of a form of protest a couple weeks ago, where if we're talking about war funding and things like that, and how much money we've actually spent on wars, I wanted to get the tally of casualties first, just for the amount of men and women of the United States that have died in the war on terror, and then all of civilian casualties, and quantify it in blood terms, like liter per liter, how much is in a human body, and then times that by however many people have died. And how much that blood would actually fill up or make the same amount of space as a pack of money, and how much that money is. So you'd have an actual blood volume equation of how much it cost in money to blood.
Yes.
For that trade. And so like having that visualization, I think, would make people realize how ridiculous war is, because the amount of blood that is wasted and the amount of money that is wasted on this results in nothing, especially the last 20 years has resulted in nothing for the American people. Not a single thing has been better since 9/11. And since we took on those wars, not a single thing has gotten better. Right.
Yeah.
And now we're just continuing it.
Yeah, and what do we get? What do we get out of these wars? For those of us that Corey and I that have been to war, what benefit, like you said, did we receive? So if we're not benefiting something that Americans are involved in, with boots on the ground, conflict, losing their lives, and we didn't benefit from that at all. What are we benefiting from wars that we're not boots on the ground involved in? If we're not, we didn't benefit it here. What did we get? We got more surveillance. We got all these other things. So it's just, we got to stop picking sides in these conflicts and just be against it. But here is Candace Owens' rebuttal to why her speaking on why she got fired.
To be honest with you, because everybody's noticing it. Every single political commentator in America, every single one of them knows this, that if you do not step out and say things that are radically pro-Israel, or if you are too quiet on certain narratives and they want you to be radically pro-Israel, you can lose everything. That's truth. That is a fact. I'm not feeling like I need to hide from that anymore, or be afraid to say it, rather, is a better way to say it, because I've endured this for years. I'm just at the end of my rope. I have given so much rope here, and I am just done with it.
So is that her saying that she left?
Yep.
Yeah, so sounds like it.
It sounds like it.
And I can get it, man. She's not the first one to come out and talk about the first one to come out and not be super 100% in on something dealing with, Israel or the mainstream. A lot of musicians did it. Kanye did it, and then when they voiced their opinion about it, look what they did to the guy. The minute he voiced his opinion about it, they're like, oh, you anti-Semite, you got to go. So it's almost like you can't say anything or you're going to meet your own fate. No matter what you believe.
It's interesting you put it that way, because I remember seeing a clip where Ben Shapiro himself literally said, you can criticize Israel, the government of Israel, but then he kind of sort of muddied the waters to the point where it's like, but you really can't. You know what I mean? So it was like it's this weird double standard, internal double standard that these uber pro-Israel, can't say nothing else type folks have, is this weird cognitive dissonance of, you can complain and criticize, but you really shouldn't, kind of thing. So it was odd.
Yeah, it's very odd, and it's getting to the point to where, we do have freedom of speech, but when people are scared to say something, you censor yourself, and this is self-censorship. They're not telling you not to say anything, wink, wink, but if you do, we will ruin you and destroy you. And her demise started with that whole debacle a couple episodes ago, where we talked about her and Ben Shapiro getting into it. And Ben Shapiro probably already had her on the chopping block. He was just waiting for the right moment to either to get her fired or to force her to leave. Some crazy world we live in. What else?
There was one that she was on the Breakfast Club. I was trying to find a clip.
Recently.
Talking about that that Ben Shapiro didn't have the power to fire her.
Yeah,
it was the quote, and I was trying to find it, but I couldn't find it again without it having like DMCA music over top of it.
Yeah, that was her interview with Charlemagne.
Yep,
the recent one, and he calls himself Charlemagne the God. That's just crazy to me. But I'm gonna call him Charlemagne. And if you notice during that interview, because I saw it, he didn't go at her like he did in their prior interview. He was a little more like calm. He kind of let her speak more and he kind of let her talk more. So it was just a different dynamic during this interview compared to the last interview. And hopefully you can find it because it is pretty interesting if you look how because usually Charlemagne, anybody, especially if you're on the right, pro-Trump, pro-Republican, even though Jay mentioned earlier backstage that Charlemagne's not really picking a side or voting during this election. But it's saying something also about Candace and her stance politically, because we've also done an episode about Candace and other conservative, these big media influencers. We call them powder puff patriots, grifters.
Powder puff, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you remember that episode, Powder Puff Patriots, and they kind of grift, and if you watch this interview, if you can find it, if you watch this interview between her and Charlemagne, like I said, Charlemagne usually goes on the offense when it comes to conservatives, especially black conservatives, but he was a little more hands off during this interview.
Yeah, so here's the clip that I was talking about. I just had to dive down into it a little deeper.
Way that
and that's the question I have. If he doesn't have the power to fire her, then who did? Did Jeremy Boring just let her go? Did her contract expire? Like what?
All right, so what? Since
a lot of questions.
Since we're going down this rabbit hole, who owns the Daily Wire? Who is the top head executive?
It's the two of them. Jeremy Boring and Ben Shapiro are co-founders. Jeremy Boring is the one that's running the C-suite for sure.
Okay.
And Shapiro's just the face of Daily Wire, basically. So
was a figurehead. He's been a figurehead the entire time.
Right.
So
and then
that other guy,
Jeremy Boring, he's a Hollywood producer back in the day. And he was kind of forced out because of being conservative. Obviously, they had a whole thing about it. But this is the tweet that she put out after she was fired. Is saying that I'm finally free, and that if you want to support my work, go to CandaceOwens.com. And that's one of the things that people tend to forget about Candace Owens' contract with Daily Wire is that she kept all of her original stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it was more of a syndication deal than anything.
Oh.
Where they put her stuff on there. So they don't own any of Candace Owens. Candace Owens has always retained her rights.
That's very interesting because the last contract that I heard was when you create your content, it completely belongs to the whims of the Daily Wire. And if you don't produce X amount of content, you get taxed or you get penalized or something like that.
Well, that was the contract they sent Crowder. Yeah.
So would that be some sort of overcorrection on Daily Wires then? Because if Candace is allowed to keep all of her material, then and she's off doing her own thing now.
Here's a good example. So it's the same thing with J.K. Rowling, right? She retained all the original rights, but didn't know that book series and IP was going to get so big. So she got super stellar rich, more so than any other author in history, based off of selling her IP to a corporation, right? Because she retained all the rights. Same thing with Candace Owens. She retained all the rights.
Gotcha.
So she still has ownership over all of her intellectual property.
Whereas
like anybody else would not. Say, Brett Cooper, for instance, would not have rights over her property,
which is a little unfortunate for Brett Cooper, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I've been watching Candace Owens since the beginning of her career when she was just posting videos on social media.
Red Pill Black days.
It was not Red Pill. Was it Red Pill Black?
That was who she was. And then,
and her videos were in black and white all the time, and she would just get up there and talk. And I was like, man, who is this? Who is this young lady right here?
Dang.
Yeah. And she, to me, for the Daily Wire, she was more popular than Ben Shapiro. You know,
When she signed on,
yeah, she would do a lot more, you know, rallies. What's that group she's a part of where she goes around from state to state?
Turning Point.
Turning Point. And I actually went to one event with Turning Point, but she was actually the voice, but she was also very hated too. A lot of people hated her, and they used to use her name as an insult. Like, how are you going to insult me?
They still do.
Using Candace Owens' name. Candace Owens would destroy you in a debate. You know, and she's very intelligent. Though I don't agree with her take on certain issues, maybe, but
yeah,
I don't know.
And so here's another tweet. This is apparently like getting people upset today of saying Christ is king, because she's said that many times over the years. She is saying this is the first time she tweeted Christ is king in November of 2023. So they're trying to equate it to be equal when the Hamas attack or whatever happened. I think that's what he's trying to do. It's an obvious grift. He's grifting off of her name. And then people rightly pointed out that she's said that many times over the years.
Yes, she has.
And the comments, but it's just them trying to, like I said, equate her as being an anti-Semite, that she's using her Christianity as a grift. I mean, but in a certain aspect, most people on the internet are grifters. I mean,
that is true.
Just point that out there. Hey,
I'm not. I don't get paid.
We try to be real, and if we get in trouble, we get in trouble. It's okay.
Yeah, it is what it is.
There's another clip I wanted to bring up. Saying basically people are seeing they're saying they're seeing a change in Candace Owens.
Yes, this is what I was talking about earlier.
Oh, the Joe Budden interview?
No, just in general, like blackness and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it's going to do that.
Black Americans are incredibly talented. Like I said, when it comes to the arts and creativity, I just find Black American to be funnier. I think we're also funnier. I think we have a natural sense of humor. Like when we're comedians, we do it the best. Also, when we sing, we do it the best. When we're athletes, we do it the best.
See, Black pride. Yes, Candace.
I say this on
That's
my
what
show.
we want from Candace. Black pride. Not all of the other shit that makes us say, damn, is she proud to be black or is she not proud to be black?
And if you watch my show, you're not hearing anything new. This is what I say. This is the lessons in all of that. Forget the headline about what I said, but why I say it offends me. I'll say because this is what I grew up with, and this is what I know we are capable of. Because I know you can do better. And I know who's making the decisions in the boardroom. And I see their evil game, and it's Machiavellian, and I'm just not having it. That's why I'm not allowed to speak to Black Americans beyond the headlines. That's why they want to separate us, is because they are worried about what would happen if there was a Black Renaissance. Black Americans are incredibly,
and that's what they're saying. Is like, oh, is she really for Black people now? And it's like, she's kind of always been. She's just saying do better. She's always been the messaging, do better.
Right.
Yeah, and she's always spoken about Black people in general being great, being talented, being smart. Get off the plantation type of talk. But like she said, she was very controlled in how she can voice that message. And so I think a lot of Black people out there are seeing her, are calling her a grifter or whatever else, because they're saying, oh, since she got fired from the Daily Wire, now she's coming back to the community. No, she's always been like that. It's just that her message was very controlled and contained.
Yeah, and a lot of it's like if you rub people the wrong way, it tends to happen. She's a very combative person.
Yeah.
Anytime you've seen any of her stuff, she's always combative with people. She's not an agreeable person. Just her personality. I'm sorry. Like, handle it or don't, but that's just the way it is. So, Michael, like I saw this before. Like, they do the Black quiz on Charlamagne God for the Breakfast Club. How do you answer most of those? Because I'm wondering. I kind of play her answers.
All right,
and I want to see what you think.
All right. Now I'll answer. Pause after each question, and I'll answer and see if we're.
Is it because like they ask her questions? Let's get your answers at the same time. This ought to be fun. Seeing her now, it seems not as combative as before, like you were saying. So
I have a take on that. Too. I have a take as to why that is, but
this is before she got fired. Like that's the thing.
Well, I still have a take on why he's a little more reserved in his forwardness.
Maybe.
His family.
Do you know what the answer is to that? I don't know.
From the TV show Good Times. Good
Oh, is it Good
Times?
Times?
Yeah, it's Good Times.
Okay.
TV show.
I don't ever remember watching that show.
Yeah, but that show's that's before my time. Even though I watched it in my house, that's way before her time. It's before my time. So that was a stupid question. Why would they ask her that?
It's to test her
I don't
blackness,
know.
apparently.
Hey,
That's
here's the thing I
test
don't
your
understand. Why do this is coming from a black man, which they like to label me. I'm just a man, but I'm a man that is
A little more melanin than the rest of us.
Yeah. Yeah, I am a man first and then the rest. That's how I carry myself. Man, then everything else after that. I'm a man. I'm a veteran. I'm a man. I'm a chef. I'm a man, and I'm a melanated. A man that is melanated
individual.
I don't put things before it because I'm a man first. All right. That was it? I wanted to hear more.
Oh yeah, there's more, but I think we could probably move on from that.
Yeah, this is them trying.
That was more of a hooch thing. We could pick that up on then.
All right, this is just them. It's just some stupid questions trying to see how black she is. I didn't know, knowing the lyrics to Fresh Prince of Bel Air makes you black. My son is too young to know what Fresh Prince of Bel Air is.
Yeah, it's pop culture stuff. Yeah.
It's pop culture stuff. So if they asked him that question, he'd probably be like, I don't know what you're talking about. Not every black person watches Fresh Prince. Not every black person watched Good Times or What's Happening or The Jeffersons or Sanford and Son. I did because my grandparents who raised me were boomers who watched those shows. So me being Gen X, I grew up in the household with them watching those shows. Me being Gen X, my son being Gen Z, he didn't watch that shows because this time I didn't watch them. Maybe I watch reruns on YouTube, but those are stupid questions. And Charlemagne, the fake god, stupid question. And
yeah, we have to get like an actual black survey or something like that.
Or the Cosby Show. Yeah, I mean, I grew up watching those shows. My kid didn't. You know what I mean?
The only thing
is a millennial. She probably didn't.
Yeah, the only thing I could probably equate that to is if I had to take a Southern survey, because that's the only thing that would make sense for me. It's like, how Southern are you? Do one of those, growing up in the South. But I think they could equally apply for most people in the South, depending on where you're from.
Yeah, I mean, the way it's crossover. Me personally, I don't wear this color of my skin on my sleeve. You know what I mean? The color of my skin doesn't make me great. It's who I am as a person and who I am as a human. If all of us were blind and you didn't see skin color, how would you gauge a good person if you couldn't see that person? You gauge a person by how they treat you, how they carry themselves, how they act, what they contribute to society, what they share, what they teach. That is a good person. Not your skin color doesn't make you great. Who you are makes you great. I don't know. That's just my rant. Here's another one.
Yeah. Well, this is something completely different since it's breaking news is that Diddy's house is getting raided in LA.
Oh yeah. Hey, it's bound to happen, right? You remember what I talked about earlier, I think 2 episodes ago or last episode, where I talked about it's the golden age, it's the age of Aquarius.
Yeah.
It all means something, and it's the age of revealing things that are hitting. The veil is being lifted, the age of karma. All this stuff isn't just happening by chance. People got to understand that. It's happening, and we have no control over it because it's supposed to happen. Good. Get Diddy. Get them all.
So here's a reporting from TMZ.
Breaking news right now. We're following the Department of Homeland Security conducting a raid at a house in Holmby Hills, believed to be connected to Sean Combs, the rapper and music executive, perhaps being linked to a sex trafficking investigation.
He got some shots of a few people coming out of the home. Those people have been detained. Now, we're trying to still connect the dots. We do have some sources on scene here that we're getting this information from. We were actually the first ones here with about 30 different law enforcement vehicles.
I got a question. Is did they really was that necessary to go to Diddy's house with that many people? I mean, unless it's a legitimate this is a criminal organization and ring that they're busting, which by the amount of force they're using probably might be so. But I mean, if they were just going after Diddy, like it seems a bit excessive in my opinion. But
DHS.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
good. But
so
here's
I mean,
the thing.
somebody's got to fall for the Ghislaine Maxwell stuff and Epstein stuff, right? Somebody's got to go down.
Well, here's the thing.
So they chose a black man.
So they chose a black dude.
This is going to be the catalyst for a lot more things to come. You're going to see. I mean, we all knew what Diddy was doing. We all knew that he was crooked. And yes, the black man had to take the fall, but
the black guy had to take the fall. Yeah,
but
somebody had to take it.
You're going to see a lot more, and you're going to see
R. Kelly was already gone, so they had to choose somebody else.
That's right.
You're going to see a lot more musicians and big time music moguls, and it's not just going to be Diddy. It's going to be so many more because the birds are going to chirp to save his butt. He's going to talk. He's going to go into protective custody, and he's going to talk. So just,
he doesn't have any suicidal tendencies, does he?
Yeah, maybe.
Speaking of that, did you guys see the guy that was testifying against Boeing and ended up getting offed in his hotel room? Yeah,
I saw that.
We're way
that was
That's
suspicious.
old,
the only
dude.
reason he stayed in town was because the lawyers asked him to stay because they wanted to finish up the deposition, and the deposition was so damaging.
Yeah.
They objected to his deposition, and then he ends up dead to an apparent suicide after he already said to somebody else, "If I die by suicide, it wasn't suicide."
Yeah, that happened like 2 weeks ago. But let's get back to Diddy.
I know. It's all connected,
it's
man.
Funny.
It's all connected.
It's just funny.
Yeah.
At least there are 3 Bearcats on scene here. This just all unfolded, Sandra, I would say, less than 10 minutes ago. We got here even before the crime scene tape came up. So we're just down the hill.
So they got a good tip. If they show up before the crime scene tape comes up or anything else, they got a good tip.
Look up this street where Tony is right now to the right. You'll see one of those Bearcats and law enforcement. And on the other side of those bushes, basically, is that home that is registered to Bad Boy Films, which is part of Bad Boy Entertainment. And the home in particular is registered not only to Bad Boy Films, but to one of P. Diddy's daughters.
They are heavily armed, and they've been very tactful, would probably be the best word to use, as they made entry into this home this afternoon. We actually watched them as they made their way through one of these side gates, and as soon as they got inside the home, one of the first things they did was made their way into this garage that you see is open right there. Now, they did take a couple people into custody. We witnessed that. Now, are they under arrest? Are they just being asked about what they know? That I can't answer, but I can tell you there's 3 people right there that were taken into custody, were inside that home at the time of the raid.
We did see a bunch of investigators going in, making the raid in there and clearing that as well. So they're going to do a thorough search as they conduct this raid. And so far, Stu, from what I understand and from Haley on the ground there, they have not seen, and we have not seen from our vantage point, any sign of Sean Combs, the 54-year-old who is believed to be the property owner of this.
Yeah, if he has multiple properties, I mean, why would he be at that one in particular? You probably already know where he is, unless he ran. Like, then that's different.
Well, you know me and my theory on shiny objects. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's everyone knew this about Diddy. Everyone knew what was going on. It's been talked about, and all of a sudden they got there first. How did they get there first? How did you know that they were going to raid this very wealthy man's home? Who was your source? So it's all connected and it's all planned. This is already planned out to be shown on camera to take our eye off of something else that's going on. There's something else going on, and they're trying to take the focus off of it to talk about some washed up music mogul who's been known to do all this sick stuff because it's been talked about for years. So to me personally, this isn't news. Hey, it's good for him. They got him. Okay, grab him, let him be gone. Now let's focus back on what's going on, and he's not the news. There's something else going on that's going to come up within the next few days, and it's going to be like, boom, it's going to hit us. And it's going to be too late because we as a people have the freaking attention span of gnats, and we will focus on anything that deals with these dang celebrities. We wouldn't be focused on this if it was just some normal Joe Schmo that was trafficking kids. that happens every single day. They're picking up these people. They're not all over the news. They're not all over the place. But this guy is all over the news because he's popular. He's a celebrity, and they know that it's going to catch the attention of the American people while they slide something in like they always do. I'm just saying.
This is still related to Candace Owens because she actually put out a tweet about this too.
Yeah.
Okay, you can bring it up.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. The feds are currently raiding Diddy's house. They already knew that what he was up to, but he is going to be the fall guy so that they can protect the people at the top of the ring.
Exactly.
That's exactly what I said. Is like somebody's got to go down for it.
Exactly.
And R. Kelly's already done, so they had to pick the next guy.
And a guy like Diddy, man, he's big time. You don't think all these people at the top, these politicians, they've all shaked his hand, rubbed elbows with him all the way at the top, all these music executives, all these people way at the top. You don't think they're involved? So like you said, Coy, someone has to take the fall to protect all of them. And if he talks, he knows what's going to happen to him. So, hey, get this guy. He's washed up anyway. He's old. We already own the rights to. We own the rights to everything. Take him down.
Yeah. You remember Cat Williams bringing this up too. Mm-hmm. Here's a clip for that, just like calling it out.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thanks, Twitter. Why you got to do that to me?
They always.
I had it up.
It's Twitter.
Let me get it back up again. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, but Jay, you got anything? We've been rambling on, man.
No, it's just basically. Oh, go ahead.
No, I got the video up. You can bring it up.
Go ahead, Jay. I was just gonna say that with regards to Candace seeming like she's liberalizing herself, I just think that when it comes to Charlemagne, the reason why he didn't go so full frontal is because he has a stain on his record, namely allowing Joe Biden on his show to say what Joe Biden said. And that'll forever remain in infamy, and it'll be directly connected to Charlemagne. So for Charlemagne to say anything,
a meme. It's never going to die.
Right. So for Charlemagne to literally come at Candace when Candace has that in her back pocket, I think that's why he kind of sort of toned it down a little bit. And I think that's the reason why so many of these pro-black, Hotep types are keeping quiet. It's because they're also co-signing off of what Joe Biden said to Charlemagne. And that's a stain on their record too.
Yeah, and I agree. If I was Candace sitting there getting asked those black questions, whatever the black quiz, I would have been like, so does that mean I'm not black, as Joe Biden said on your show, Charlemagne?
Exactly.
You ain't black. Yeah, it's like, dude, that would be the best thing you could throw that in there at the end.
I think Vivek did that. I think Vivek did that to Charlemagne.
Yeah. So this is
handed him a lot of things on that.
Cat Williams, and where Coy's going with these other videos is just like how everything is tying together. It's just, you got Candace Owens getting fired, you got Diddy, you got Cat Williams talking about what goes on behind the scenes. You got Candace Owens not agreeing with certain things that are happening behind the scenes, and all of a sudden Diddy gets hit.
Yeah,
and with Diddy was dealing with a lot of these people that they're talking about that's behind the scenes.
It ties into a lot of things.
It all ties in together. All these people are connected. It's just one big spider web of crooked individuals. And like Coy said earlier, they have to get someone.
They got to get somebody, man. They have to get somebody.
I will let you tell it.
No, you're
I want you to tell it.
You really are the best. You're proving it here today. As much as I'm proving it, you proving it. You proving it. Yeah, that wasn't the thing. It wasn't. People say that. He lost $50 million. No, that's not even close to what happened to this dude. And until you understand what happened to the dude, you don't understand what happened. Like, no, not they offered him $50 million and he turned it down. Who gonna turn down $50 million? Now, I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times. 4 times. Just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right. Because P. Diddy be wanting to party. And you gotta tell him no.
I believe it.
Yeah. And you gotta tell him no.
I believe it.
Yeah. How can you not?
So here's the thing that it ties into, right? So bringing it back to Candace Owens and the whole anti-Israel thing. And what it is, like we're spending all this money on Ukraine and Israel when we've got an entirely open border. So they're cracking down on P. Diddy in a sex ring, even though we're not cracking down with DHS on the rings that are being implemented through the facilitation of the Border Patrol and Homeland Security with trafficking children through the U.S. border.
Mm-hmm.
They can go after Diddy, even though they know what he's been doing for a very long time, just like they knew what Epstein was doing for a very long time.
Yeah.
But they won't put any resources or money into controlling the border and stopping sex trafficking and slavery at the U.S. border.
That's right.
Our border.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all
That's insane.
connected. And the thing is that a lot of these creators and these comedians, these actors, these musicians who aren't really part of it, but they knew what was going on. They know what's going on. And when they start alluding to something, you know, crooked going on, corrupt going on, they don't really say it, but they're kind of throwing that out there. Look what happens to them every single time. They get fired, they get shamed, they get called crazy, they get thrown in mental hospitals, they lose their jobs, they lose everything. So, of course, they all knew that Diddy was doing something. So to take the heat off of them, they had to throw him to the wolves, which they should have, which he should go down for everything he's done, including, you know, the death of Tupac. And they had to get him and make an example out of him. And they should make an example out of him. And I hope he chirps, and I hope he drops every single one of their names of people that participated in his sex trafficking ring. I hope he mans up and says, you know what? I'm spilling the beans and I don't care what happens to me, and just start name dropping. That's what
That's
the hope.
Here's a report that's come in. So apparently the private jet owned by Diddy has left the United States after the raids.
Of course.
He's a runner, he's a track star.
He's a runner, he's a track star.
I like tying this back into some other politics. I like how a non-fraud case against Donald Trump that has an outrageous bond that was today lowered, reduced to 157 million or something like that, from 400 something million,
which is still exorbitant.
Right. So the guy that is apparently the most evil man in the world, that is equivalent to Hitler, which I find still funny in my mind, is like, so what did he do? Did he round up a bunch of people and kill them? No. He said mean things on the internet. Ooh, that's Donald Trump. He said mean things on the internet. He was the worst president in U.S. history. He's such a racist and bigot and homophobe. It's like, well, did he get locked up for sex trafficking? No. Okay. Did he kill a bunch of people? No, he didn't do any of those things. He inflated his net worth. That is the worst thing he's ever done, because everybody has done that in the history of real estate.
Yeah.
But he's the only one that's wrong. And then Diddy's running, and that they weren't able to get him, but Trump is following the rules and letting them do this to him. But this guy's like, nope, deuces. And he's out.
Didn't they put Trump on a no-fly list?
Didn't
they do that? They put him on a no-fly list where he couldn't fly out the country. So knowing this stuff with Diddy, it didn't just happen today. This has been talked about for a few months now. How come DHS, FBI, whoever's in charge of this clown show didn't put him on a no-fly list? You can't fly.
This tweet says it all right here. They let him leave. Don't even doubt it.
You know why they let him leave?
That's a good point. They let him leave.
You know why they let him leave, right? Because he knows too much. And then if they take him out, if they Epstein him, then
which is going to happen. It's going to happen.
For sure.
Okay, what did he really know? Because he should be facing court and jail time for his crimes of sex trafficking. But why did he all of a sudden wound up, Epstein? Because there are people up top that indulged in his shenanigans. They indulged in it. And if something happens to him, people would be like, so why did he? And who's he tied to? And who's his money going to? And who's his connections? Oh.
There's another tweet that brings out a really good point, is that the Russian attack from this weekend, the terror attack that is apparently claimed by ISIS, right? In Russia, which nobody believes that shit. Not a single person believes that. Exactly. Saying now after the Russia attack, Diddy is being raided to distract from the fact that they think okay, who's played Call of Duty? Either one of you two?
Yeah.
Like your OG Call of Duty. Remember, no Russian.
Yeah.
It's no Russian. Come on. Like, it's an operation. It was definitely an operation. That was not ISIS.
Yeah, and like
sense.
we talked about shiny objects earlier a couple minutes ago in the show.
Man.
But if you also look at what Biden just passed, he passed something going after Social Security.
Yep.
To help with the budget, to help, and look it up. It's all over the place. When he promised not to go after Social Security. So this is just perfect timing. And he talked about this, I think, today. How to fix the debt ceiling and how in order to fix the debt, we have a debt to pay back. We can't default on our debt. And they're talking about making people pay back the overpayments for Social Security. So Social Security Administration messed up and sent out this extra money. They sent the people their money. That is their money. It's not an overpayment. If I paid into something, that's still my money. You know what I mean?
Money.
So now they're going after the overpayments, and they're going to go after all these senior citizens, people that draw Social Security.
Right.
And this should go in effect, I think, on the 25th or by the end of the month or the 30th. That's the time frame to where the Social Security Administration is going to start going after people with these overpayments. Social Security first asks for people to pay it back. Now that they're not paying it back, Social Security is going to go after them by attacking their payments, their future payments. So it's just, like I said, it's a shiny object. There's always something going on in the background. Don't think this whole Diddy thing is all over TV for a reason. It's everywhere you look. Because they're not talking about the fact that Joe Biden wants to go after people's Social Security with the Social Security Administration, taking their money because the Social Security Administration overpaid people, which it wasn't those people's fault. It was their fault.
So last update before we head out of here on Diddy, I want to mention the fact of what his plane's company is called.
What?
So like, you're bringing it up this is a TMZ article. So the private Love Air private jet tracked amid raids down on the Caribbean islands. He's not in the United States. He's gone. But yeah, it's called Love Air LLC.
Yep.
Good job,
Diddy.
Lolita Express. Does anybody remember that one?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So why are these jets named similar things? I wonder why.
Because they are sick individuals who've been getting away with their sick sexual crimes for too long, and they're all being exposed.
Does Diddy own a private island?
This has been plain sight. He's probably going to one of his buddies' private islands because everyone thinks that Epstein Island is the only private island out there. There's many of them, and he's probably flying to one. Safe haven. You know,
he's probably going to an island, or he's going to convert to Islam and he's going to the UAE somewhere that doesn't have extradition. That's what it is.
Again, everything is a distraction, people. Please do not fall for their tricks when it comes to these celebrities. Who cares about these celebrities? The only thing we care about is justice. Outside of that, what he does, if his plane crashed, I wouldn't care, really. Oh, feel bad for his family, but we want justice. And this is a distraction for things that are coming within these next few weeks. I'm telling you, pay attention to what's going on. Look up. Pay attention. I'm going to leave it at pay attention to what's going on. There's so much more that they're hiding from us. And they use these celebrities because a lot of Americans worship these people. They worship the ground they walk on, and they use them to take your eyes off of these people. Don't focus on Diddy. Focus on these people, the cabal, the draconians, these reptilians. That's who you focus on. Keep your eye on them.
The Donald Trump thing should prove to you that they only target who they want, not who they should.
Right. Right.
Because Diddy probably should have been targeted a long time ago. Hell, Epstein should have been targeted a long time ago. But they only target who they want to target. Period.
Exactly. And someone said in the comments, and I know we're going to get out of here soon, but take a picture of the sun, take a picture of the moon, especially tonight, and pay attention to the sky. You know, I posted a picture that she sent me on my TikTok of the sun with a black circle in it. And it was not Photoshopped. There was nothing. This was a straight up photo from the phone sent to me. I adjusted the photo, you know, with contrast and all that stuff so people can see what's on the sun. So pay attention to the sky. There's things going on in the heavens that they're trying to distract us from. And that's real talk. That's not just some hyperbole bull crap. It's real talk, pay attention. There's something else going on for them to make this Diddy issue such a big deal on everything you turn on. Everything's talking about it. Everyone is talking about Diddy right now. And this raid happens all the time to people. So pay attention. Really pay attention. Trust me. If you don't believe anything I say, look up, pay attention, and get your house in order. Because something's going down that they're not telling us. Some of us know. You know.
We have a long 8 months until November.
Yeah, gosh.
Yeah.
A long 8 months. It's not going to get any better, folks.
It sure isn't. Just got to pay attention. And, to Candace Owens, whatever you're doing, keep being you, and don't get out here and try to grift. You know what I mean?
I say good for her. She has the freedom to
you.
say what she wants.
Yeah, say what you got to say, but don't think out of all these black creators and Charlemagne's and all these black TikTokers and all these hoteps out there shamed you for what you stood for. Now some of them are backing you. So
I find it funny that nobody's coming, like on the left's coming after Daily Wire because they fired the only black woman.
Of course they're not, because they
Point that out there. That's funny.
That is very interesting.
They called her every name in the book. They're not going to go after her because they were shaming her for working for the Daily Wire. But now that she's gone, they would look like hypocrites if they went after the Daily Wire for getting rid of her. Right. They didn't like her working there anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So they're all
free to work wherever you want, man. Some people don't work.
And she's very talented, and I'm pretty sure she's gonna get another gig. Tucker Carlson. Yeah, she'll get another gig, and she'll continue to push her message. Hopefully she sticks to the same message, doesn't change up, and I'll be watching. We'll all be watching, especially us conservatives that watched you grow and watched you flourish within the conservative community. And good luck. And I'm not going to watch the Daily Wire anymore. Ben Shapiro, I'm not going to watch you anymore because you like to talk like this, and I didn't like you anyway.
I stopped watching his stuff after his whole meltdown over Israel. And it's like, dude, you've gotten too. Your emotions are overwhelming your facts, my friend.
Yeah, I stopped watching him after he talked about old people should work until they die, pretty much.
But it's like, dude, your takes are ridiculous. Yeah, you need to calm the hell down before you ruin your brand and implode that company.
And stop playing victim the minute someone goes after your people.
Yeah, he's destroying the Daily Wire. I'm just going to point that out.
Stop playing victim. You always talk. He talks about victimhood all the time. Conservatives always talk about not being a victim, but here he is playing victim when someone doesn't agree with him. You're allowed to disagree, Ben. You're allowed to disagree with people. Doesn't mean they're an anti-Semite. Doesn't mean she hates Jews. It does not mean that. There's a disagreement in the way things.
It's the reason why people are calling him a neocon than anything else.
Yeah, he is.
He is a neocon.
He's getting paid. He's a neocon. He's getting paid big bucks to push a message, and we can see right through you. I'm just saying.
These are facts. You guys. They're just facts.
And facts are facts.
And facts don't care about your feelings.
Yeah, didn't he say that?
Yeah, that's his thing.
Yeah, that's his thing. Facts don't care about your opinions, Ben.
We need since they have the liberal tears cup, we need to make a Ben Shapiro tears cup.
Filled with black tears because he lost the only person that was worth watching on a Daily Wire. Black tears.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
And if Marlon's watching, hey, we need to make that mug now. Time now.
But then we'll get labeled as anti-Semite because we were making fun of a Jewish creator. It's like, no, that's not it. It's just because he's being a whiny bitch.
And we make fun of everybody.
Yeah, we do.
Black, white, Asian, Hispanic. Hey, if you give us
left or right, it don't matter.
Left, right, we don't care. Donald Trump, we'll make fun of him too. Even though some of us we rock with the guy, he's not safe from ridicule. Just know that no one is. A right is a right, a wrong is a wrong.
I dislike the fact that he was involved in Operation Warp Speed. That's one of the biggest things that is a turnoff for me because
I'm not a fan of his two positions.
Yeah. So we're here
banning
on
bump stocks. Yeah.
We're not afraid to call out people that we support. If they're wrong is a wrong, and there's two forces. It's all we care about, good and evil, and we care about truth and justice. That's it.
I got equal opportunity hands. I'll slap each face.
Smack. But
equal rights, equal less, folks.
All right, guys, we're about to get out of here. Coy, you got anything?
Not yet. Tomorrow I'll have the Hooch episode up. We'll do the Black quiz probably. I'll see if I can find a Southern quiz and then whatever else is trending right now. Gamergate 2 is still kind of going on. That's been a whole shebang and people aren't getting it. But yeah, we can talk about that a little bit more because Kotaku is actually like firing, or one of their chief editors resigned, and they're trying to change away from politics to actually producing game guides. So it's interesting that the culture is turning in certain ways.
Hey Jay,
yeah,
you should come on the Hooch, man. Join us tomorrow.
Well, I'll see what I can do.
See if we can find an Asian quiz. So we all have quizzes. You can find a Southern quiz, find a Black quiz, and then we'll have an Asian.
No, because then it'll be white adjacent by proxy.
Yeah, right.
Might as well.
How white are you?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, people. That's going to be it for us. Jay, take us out of here.
Like, share, comment, subscribe, and we'll see y'all Wednesday. Peace out.
War.